This is episode 2 of the Arts Academy podcast with Victor Varnado and Roxxy Haze. How to become a screenwriter without connections. With special guest, comedian Katy Berry. So one of the reasons that I wanted you to be on the show is because recently you've had a little bit of success with the script that you wrote.
Yeah.
A screenplay. And now you're a person who I think that you haven't written a movie before. Had a movie produced before, right?
No.
Right. And so you had to go from like being in your house to now getting to the point where like a very popular site is like posting about your script. Like Blacklist is posting about your script right now, and which is great. I think they posted a couple of times.
Yeah, every time you get a certain high score, it triggers them to put you in their mailing list, to note that you're trending, to put you on their Twitter. So it's like behooves you to get a high score because they recognize that it's rare to get a high score, and then they do their part to like boost the algorithm in your favor, which is very helpful. And then you see the downloads of your script, the industry downloads go da 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 da, and it's really cool.
That's great. And so like when you're doing something like Blacklist, I think what I want you to talk about is like a lot of people out there have absolutely no connections, but Blacklist proved successful for you so far. I mean, who knows?
So far.
Yeah, exactly. But Blacklist has proved successful for you. So why don't you just tell people like how the process works at Blacklist?
Okay, so the first thing is it's pay to play, and you pay $30 a month per script that you host for the full month. And when you put up a script, you tag the hell out of it, of all, everything from like the scenery to the types of characters to like who would be cast to the genres to the blah, blah, blah. It's like intense tagging. And then you can put it up there and just hope that someone who like is looking for things with your tag stumbles upon it and like wants to read it. But the truth is there's so many crappy scripts out there that what you really got to do is buy an evaluation. It's $75, but the Blacklist only allows their paid evaluators to be people who are like top tier in the industry, who are essentially gatekeepers that work in development, that are, agents, that are, people who have some guns to fire. So
basically, I'm sorry to interrupt, but so basically what you're saying is like, you can just put your script up there without an evaluation and then hope that people download it.
Yeah, and it just will not happen.
Or you can pay a separate price to have an evaluation and then also host it on Blacklist.
Yeah, you have to host for $30 a month. And honestly, don't do it unless you're going to get an evaluation. And don't get an evaluation unless you really believe you have something special within your genre, something unique, because $75 is a lot of money. And only 5% of all the scripts uploaded get a score of 8 or higher. However, that's what happened to me. My first evaluation got an 8. The Blacklist then immediately followed up and said, we're giving you 2 free months of hosting and 2 more free evaluations because this is a rare score. And then what happened was I got another 8. That's 2 more free months. So now I have 4 free months and 4 additional evaluations.
So an evaluation on the same script?
Yeah, from different evaluators. And I think they have like maybe 200, somewhere around there, evaluators, and they match your script with an evaluator. Since you're paying for it, you don't want to get someone who like loves horror reading your like coming of age dramedy. So they match you with an appropriate evaluator who like will not be talking out their ass. And then it's really interesting. They tell you the strengths of your scripts, they tell you the weaknesses of your scripts, and they tell you the prospects of like where they see this going and their next step career advice. However,
also you could also pay for an evaluation and then not host it. So like if you're a screenwriter and you just want great feedback on your scripts, is that something that because that's worth $75 to me? Like as a screenwriter, it's worth $75 to me for somebody who knows what they're talking about to read my script and give me feedback.
Well,
can you use it for that as well?
I think you have to host it on the site for the readers to even download it.
Okay.
So I think it's like, but also I would not get an evaluation unless you feel confident it's going to be a good evaluation, because one, if they give you a good evaluation, it's all anonymous. So you can't be like, this person said this great thing. So it's like, okay. But also the notes aren't that rigorous. So if you're looking to polish your script, there are other sites where you can pay for like feedback that's going to be more useful. The Blacklist is more, you're paying to gamble on whether you can win that algorithm game and get real industry eyes and like open other doors for like fellowships and all that. So really, like, Blacklist should be the last step when you feel really confident that you have a strong polished script and you're ready to like play the game.
Okay, I want you to continue with your Blacklist story. I'm writing down a little note for a question I want to ask you later.
So yeah, that was pretty much it. I mean, I got a high score, and then I got another high score, and I got a couple scores. Basically, I got all 7s and 8s. The 8s trigger the free stuff. The 7s, even though they didn't give me all the free stuff, they still were like glowing reviews, which can be frustrating. And there were a couple of reviews where you were like, this person does not get the script. They don't get it. And that's kind of just the industry, and that's what you're going to run into. And there are people who you could tell are like, this needs to get made. So it's like, you have to take everything with a grain of salt. But also once you're hosting your script on the Blacklist, they have a bunch of opt-ins. So for instance, I opted into the Women in Film Fellowship. And I didn't have to pay for that entrance fee because I was already paying for all this shit on the Blacklist. And when you have those evaluations, the people that look at these fellowships and look at your application, they look at those to see if they want to give you, and when you write a script, there's so many like fellowship and script writing competitions out there. So it's really helpful. They do look at the evaluations on Blacklist, and that's another reason why it's good to get those evaluations.
Right. I totally understand. I totally understand that. And so one last thing. So have you gotten outreach from people outside of Blacklist at this stage? Like, have you gotten any outreach from industry or anything like that?
No, except I am in the final round for a fellowship, which to me is a big deal. It's a really good fellowship. So I want it so bad. But so in some ways, yes, but no, I haven't gotten any cold calls from agents being like, I love this. I'm calling the head of MGM.
Why? Why are
they so happen? It could happen.
It could.
So I have a question to ask you, but before I ask the question, I want to tell anybody who's watching right now, which it looks like there's at least like 18 or so people watching. So what are the other sites where people evaluate scripts?
That was my question.
That is a great question. Okay. I had a Word document with all these things that I should have been better prepared. Most competitions and festivals that you can submit your script to do have an option that you can select additional like more detailed notes. I submitted to Slam Dance. They sent me a bunch of notes. Script Pipeline, Page International, Finish Line. You know what? Google the best screenwriting competitions, and you'll see there are lots of blogs that are like, here are the top 12. And honestly, the money to submit to these adds up fast. So I mean, when I finished the script, I was like, this is special. I'm going to submit it everywhere. And all told, it was about $600.
Oh,
and that was not including evaluations, which I more or less skipped on a lot of them. And so again, make sure that you feel super confident about your script. Yeah. Take a sip of water. Cleanse the palate.
Well, I mean, and that does seem like a lot of money to a lot of people, but I got to be honest, like evaluating scripts is a lot of work as well. It is a lot of work. I mean, I'm sure, especially because like you've been talking about your writing, I'm sure people have reached out to you and been like, hey, read my script. Tell me what you think. And you don't want
They all sound like that too.
Yeah, they do. Hey, read my script. And then you know how much work that is after you've done like one or two for your friends. Then the requirements keep getting higher, or at least they do for me. Because like the very first time that someone I was so flattered that someone wanted me to read their script. I was like, oh yes, I'll read your script. I'll give you copious notes. Here you go. And then later on, I realized this is work. I don't want to do that for people all the time. And so, yeah, I mean, it could be worth it.
I just quickly, while you were chatting, I Googled like places and like Script Reader Pro, We Screenplay. Austin Film Festival is a big one. Blue Cat. There's a whole bunch. But honestly, because they're so expensive, assuming I'm talking to artists out there, find a writing group, find a community of artists in order to write my script, I met weekly with a group of writers who were super smart, whose opinions I respected, and they gave me all the feedback and we worked through it like bit by bit, and that was invaluable. So before you start paying out of pocket for these evaluations, see if you can't find your own community of writers to connect with, because I think that's the same thing.
Somebody else had a question, Perry Thompson. Do they track your scores like this writer has an average score of blank?
Yeah, every time you get a new rating, it all averages out for your overall score. So these bastards knocked me out of the 8s into like 7 point something. But I'm still on like the homepage is like trending and all that stuff. It's still a good score. But yeah, it all averages out and there's graphs and you can see. I wonder if I could just like pull it up and show you on my phone. I don't know.
Oh, that'd be cool.
While you're doing that, I want to say this, that I know that a lot of people hate the idea of paying money to get your foot in the door. However, I will say this, when you don't have representation or when you don't have a direct connection to the industry, it pays. I mean, paying is not bad if you know where you're spending your money. Because like, for instance, if you have a good script and you put money on Blacklist and you get rated well, then it's true. Like people will start downloading your work and reading it, and then you can get other hookups based on that. Same thing for me. Like I actually work with an entertainment lawyer. We were talking about this earlier before we were live streaming. I work with an entertainment lawyer who has like a television department, and even though I pay a retainer to my lawyer, and then the television department, who basically works like an agent, where they set up meetings for you and they help you package your material. They do exactly what an agent does. There is an hourly rate associated with them, but because my material is good, like it's working out, like it's money well spent.
Yeah. So, it's really like investing in yourself when you're ready. So like take the time to hone your voice, practice your craft. And when you feel like you're really ready, then it still sucks to pay all that money, but it's true. It is a lot of work. And there are a lot of people who like suck. So
I suck.
Can I ask
Victor
y'all both?
Sucks. And he's taking up all
Sorry. Roxy?
Well, I guess it's kind of what y'all just said. So how would somebody, I guess, tell when they're ready to submit to those sites? Like what was the marker, I guess, for both of you to be like, okay, this thing is ready for me to start submitting?
For me, after I felt like it was really strong in my writing group, I opened it up to people that I knew and respected. And I was like, would you read this? Would you give me feedback? And then the response from a few people who I really trusted and I knew that they were going to be honest with me, their reactions were like very strong. And so it confirmed, I already felt it inside. Like I felt, because it was a very personal script, it's a personal story, it comes from a real place. So I felt that it was special. But then it was like having that validation. I was like, all right.
I had to turn in scripts to Facebook and Penguin Random House based on what I thought was good. Okay. Meaning, like I had a writer that I worked with, but then I would also give them notes. And then I would say, okay, this is good. Or I would work on an edit and be like, this is good. And from way back when I first started like making content, one of the things I used to do was I would just directly compare what I'm doing to things that I loved in media, because I would be like, well, if I'm not getting in that realm, then I'm not good.
Gotcha.
And so,
Okay.
but I mean,
That makes sense.
that's not the way to do it, but I'm just saying that's what I
That's what
did.
you did.
The
Okay.
way that Katie describes, I've also done that too, but I'm just saying that I also had a time where I would just be like, I would hold things that I worked on up to things that I loved. And I'd say, what is missing from what I worked on to get to the point of this thing that I love?
Okay. That makes sense.
I opened up Blacklist on my phone, and you could see this is where I have that's my script that's uploaded with the log line. And then popcorn, and then oopsies. If you scroll down, you could see, so it's been viewed 230 times, 46 different industry people have downloaded it. So I've gotten 6 reviews, and the overall score right now is 7.3, and it's active in the site. 3 writers have downloaded it. You can see like the different types of downloads. You can see the graph of like when it was read and when it was all that. So they have all those like stats and logistics. And when you get an evaluation, you can choose, you rate the evaluator, because if you pay $75 and it freaking sucks, you have the opportunity to give it a low rating. Or give it a great rating if they're great and they loved it. And then you can choose whether or not you want people to see it. So, if it's a glowing review, like you could select yes. But if someone's like, this stinks, you could be like, nope, please don't look at that. And it will not be public. Yeah. So
I hate this.
this is terrible. How did this get written? And you're like, goodbye. $75.
All right. Well, I will say that if you guys are watching out there and you have questions that you want to post about, then post them on our Facebook page or post them right underneath this video. Let us know, like, whatever questions you have. Maybe we'll do an episode on your question or make a tutorial about your question, whatever it is. Thanks a lot for checking out the show. And
wait, and follow at Katy Berry Comedy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, good points. I'm sorry. Say it again. I was talking over it.
You can follow.
Anyway, you guys, I literally like dogs. Sorry, go on.
You can follow at Katy Berry Comedy.
So sometimes I like to.
KatyBerry. And you can also watch my content at katyberrycomedy.com. Have a great time, everyone, during COVID.
Can I say, Katie is super funny?
Victor.
Yeah, you're super funny.
Thank you so much.
You can find us at artsacademypodcast.com.